Good morning, good morning. How is everyone doing today? So, grab my coffee. This morning always starts with coffee. I told the Instagram people, literally on Monday mornings, I get up, make my coffee, and come spend my time with you. So I appreciate you watching the video. I appreciate you joining me live here. Today we are going to be talking about Earth Day. So today we're celebrating the Earth, and I mentioned over on Instagram that fish are my life. I love Frank. I've got aquariums here at home. I take care of aquariums at work. I take care of fish at work. When I take a break, when I'm not at work or not at home doing my hobbies, like it's always still fish and aquatic ecosystems. And I want them to be around for us to enjoy for a long time. I want to promote and protect them. So today, I am going to be talking about a bunch of different organizations. Most of these are like organizations that protect marine and salt water ecosystems, but I know that there's organizations that are out there that promote and protect freshwater ecosystems. I'm just not super familiar with them, so if you know of them, please let me know. I'm going to run through my list of organizations and a little bit about each of them. There's a whole bunch of organizations out there, so if there's something on my list that I want to know more about, go do some research. There's a ton of them out there. I picked a lot of these because I've seen them at local trade shows and big national and international trade shows, so I figured it'd be cool to share them with you and let you know about them. In no particular order, Coral Restoration Foundation. They're based out of, I think, southern Florida somewhere. What they do is they go out and they plant coral. It's kind of interesting. They have these, it almost kind of looks like a laundry hanging or a laundry drying rack sort of things, and they put somehow attach corals to fishing line and like hang them on these racks out in the ocean. So it's using vertical space in the water as opposed to just the space on the ground, and they're able to go in and monitor those and plant those. And they are actually having a really exciting sounding event. If I were in South Florida, I would come and join it. It's called Coral Palooza. I believe it looked like it was for like $70. You can hop on one of their dive boats if you're scuba certified. If not, I think they've got spots for snorkelers. I think you might get lunch and a t-shirt, and you go out for the day and you help them plant coral. So it sounds like a fun time. If you are in that area, and are interested, definitely check that out. Coralrestoration.org, I believe, is their website. Let's see. I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for joining. I'm hopefully you just came across it. I don't know if notifications are working yet, but I've been trying to keep it consistent. Once I try to keep it like 30 minutes over on Instagram, and then right around 8 o'clock, hop on over here. Let's see. Okay, so today we're talking about different conservation agencies that are focused on aquatic conservation and restoration. So if you've got some favorite ones, I would love to hear it. Also, ways and things that you do in your day-to-day life to help make the world a better place. I'll talk about those in a bit after I get through my list. Let's see. Yes, yesterday here in the US was Easter. Some places celebrate Easter Monday as well. So, yep, it's probably a quiet day. I went to go get some Easter candy yesterday, and Target was closed. I'm like, oh no. So, might have to make a run to Target today to get some last minute candy. Okay, so I talked about Coral Restoration Foundation. Next up on my list, reef.org. I've actually done an interview with one of the girls from reef.org. They're another group that's based in South Florida, but You don't have to be in South Florida to be a part of their organization and volunteer with them. They do a lot of fish identification surveys. So if you are able to snorkel, if you're able to dive anywhere in the world, just go to, it's called reef.org, go to their website. There's some forms and information that you have to fill out, and you can help do fish surveys. They also do work in the Caribbean with invasive lionfish species. So if you're there, you can also work with that. And I did an interview with one of the girls from reef.org. I believe it should be over on my Instagram page. Waterlogged 1313 is my Instagram page, so definitely check that out. My next one on my list, who I've also done an interview with, Sea Corps. I interviewed one of their lead researchers, Margaret Miller. It's really interesting. They do a lot of coral restoration. They do it differently than Coral Restoration Foundation. So Sea Corps, they have these little, like little triangular shapes that are made out of certain materials. And they've done all sorts of research, and they've studied how coral larvae settle. So they've gotten all sorts of like little nooks and crannies built into these shapes, and they put the shapes in the water, and the coral will settle onto them. So that's something cool to check out if you're not familiar with them. Like I said, I've done an interview with one of their lead researchers, and it's pretty fascinating. These people have so much drive and passion and love of what they do. So hopefully that will be even more successful in the following years. Next up is Rising Tide Conservation. This isn't the only ornamental fish and aquacultured fish group out there. It's just one of the bigger ones that I talk to them almost every single show. The girls are great, but you can get aquacultured fish as opposed to taking them out of the wild. So Rising Tide Conservation is, I believe, blue hippo tang and the yellow tang. There's a bunch of gobies out there that you can get that are MAC certified, MAC. You can look for it when you're going to buy fish. So there's that. But I know actually this morning I read, I believe it was Reef to Rainforest. There's another company that just released, they have an aquaculture purple tang. So keep a lookout for new little purple tangs. The picture that I saw, it looks like it's super, super tiny, little bitty guy that's still getting its coloring. So that's very, very exciting. Leaps and bounds, we're making such progress. Next up, I've got Ocean Conservancy. You may have seen them, I feel like I've seen them pop up on Instagram a couple times. They are a big advocacy group. They want to protect marine habitats and promote fisheries and restore ecosystems. They also do cleanups, so depending on where you're located, I believe a lot of those cleanups are coastal, so on beaches and stuff, but you know, wherever you're at, there's always something that you can do. I was mentioning earlier, I'll talk about this in a minute, but you know, when I lived on the beach and I lived on the coast, I always participated in beach cleanups and beach walks and stuff, but you know, here I live in the desert right now, and I do a lot of hiking. So every time I go out hiking, I always try and there's always trash. Like even out in these middle of nowhere places that you wouldn't expect. Like, this is weird, guys. I can't tell you how many pairs of underwear are like socks I found. Like, how do you get like 6 miles out and lose your sock or your underwear? Like, what? So anyway, I always carry like a trash bag with me and like a glove. So I'll try and bring stuff back if I've got space in my pack. If not, if it's just like little things. Yep. So there's that. No matter where you are, you can always pick up a piece of plastic or trash, make sure it gets to where it needs to be as opposed to floating around out in the environment. Anyway, I digress. This next one is an Australian-based organization. It's called Take 3. According to their website, they're all about reducing plastic and educating people. And I was mentioning over on Instagram, I mean, just because you're really passionate, or you know, I'm really passionate about it, yeah, it's something that means a lot to me, but I also went to school for it. I took environmental science classes and stuff, so I'm a little bit more well-versed than, say, one of my friends who went to school for business. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's why it's important. Like when you hear these things, or you learn about new, different stuff, ways to promote conservation and protect the environment, it's, why not share? It could be cool. Um, you know, and on the flip side of that, again, I'm jumping ahead of myself, but this past year there's been a big push for no plastic straws. Big companies like Starbucks and McDonald's are getting rid of plastic straws. And I've heard people say, well, it's a plastic straw. Like, really? Like, that's not really going to make a difference. And while, yes, we could be doing a lot more, but think about it. If 8 million people said no to plastic straws, that's 8 million less plastic straws in the environment. So, even if you're only one person, just one thing that you do can make a difference. So, next up, Project Aware. If you are a big shark fan, if you keep sharks in your aquarium, I know a few of you out there do have pet sharks. Project Aware is all about shark conservation. I'm not super familiar with them, but my shark friends, I've seen them post about it, and it always comes up. So if you're interested in helping to promote and conserve sharks, definitely check them out. Now, this last one on my list is near and dear to my heart. I actually worked for them for a brief period of time when I was in college. But one of the things I love is that I don't want to say they're everywhere, but there are offices for the Nature Conservancy in almost every state in the US. They are an international organization, so you can look up the Nature Conservancy or TNC wherever you're at, find your local office, see what initiatives they're doing, see what they're working on in your area. And yes, all of these agencies will probably happily take monetary donations, but a lot of them would just be happy for your time. When I worked for the Nature Conservancy, I was in South Carolina, in Charleston, and we actually built oyster reefs because a lot of the areas that were highly trafficked by boats, the shorelines were eroding in the marsh, and so we took these concrete blocks. They kind of put together like you would put Legos together, and they were made with concrete and like crushed up oyster shells, and we put them out along the marsh. And when the oysters released and their larvae were swimming around in the water, they would settle out on those hard, we call them oyster castles. And over time, oysters would grow on that, and then they would help to protect the coastline. So, we worked with tons of volunteers for that. So there's always things that you can do no matter where you're at. Let's see, I got some comments. Oh no, oh, that's crushing. And I don't know if you can see these comments afterwards. Somebody wrote in, they lost a 75-gallon last month, it busted everywhere. Rough. That's rough. Hopefully it was not on a carpeted floor. Losing tanks is always, that sucks. Speaking of tanks, so I talk all the time, I got this like 180 that you can't quite see. Rotate. Rotate it just a little bit. So I've got a 180 over here that I've had since last July. I haven't set it up yet. And I'm debating, do I want to set it up? I want to set it up, but I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I'm thinking about maybe not keeping my 180. So I don't want to move it. Anyway. Hi, Frank. You guys get to see Frank. For my Instagram, Frank was like completely off screen, like didn't want anything to do with the camera, which is abnormal for him. Anyway, so I gave you a list of the top ones that I've seen or read or talked to, agencies and nonprofits that promote the conservation of aquatic ecosystems, but there's dozens more out there, and I really encourage you guys to go take a look. Coral Restoration Foundation, Reef.org, Sea Corps, Rising Tide Conservation, Ocean Conservancy, Take 3, Project Aware, Nature Conservancy, but there's tons more out there. So If those don't float your boat, definitely find something that does. But please put in the comments what your favorite organizations are, because if I'm not aware of it, I always like to learn more stuff. So next is my last bit today. What can you do to make the world a better place? I know I mentioned, like, I live here in the desert, so I can't really do that much when it comes to the ocean, but I think I run an educational page. It's called Waterlogged. It's over on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I've got a website. So even just educating people and making people aware, I think, is important. But also, like, the stuff that you do day to day makes a difference. So what you eat, make sure that the ingredients are sustainable. A good example of that is seafoodwatch.org. I believe they run in conjunction with Monterey Bay Aquarium, but if you have ever gone to the seafood counter at Whole Foods, they have a ranking system about how sustainable stuff is, and they might even have these little cards from Seafood Watch. So keep an eye out for those, make sustainable choices. And even, we celebrated Easter here this weekend. I saw something floating around about which companies that make chocolate have palm oil as an ingredient, which people have removed it. Palm oil the farming for it is very, very invasive and hugely degrading to the ecosystems that it comes from. So a bunch of different companies have made a move away from that. And one of those kind of surprised me was actually Hershey's. So, be aware of the companies and the brands that you support. If there's something you want them to see, like that you want them to do, or changes you want them to make, let them know. Recently, earlier this year, Trader Joe's actually released that they're going to be reducing a bunch of their plastic and their packaging and stuff. So companies are listening. So make your voice heard. So important. And like I said, reduce your plastic. There's been a big buzz about plastic straws. One thing that I do on a daily basis, literally a daily basis, carry a water bottle with you. Get yourself, yes, it is plastic. Invest in a water bottle that you can reuse. This guy is at a Camelback, but there's stickers. Stickers are a pretty popular thing right now in the hobby. People are doing their stickers. So you got a perfect place to put your stickers, and you're always going to have a water bottle. So no matter where you go, you can I'm just going to fill this up. So I wish I had kept track. I should keep track of how many times I refill this sucker. So that's just something little you could do no matter where you're at. I made a whole list of organizations that promote conservation in aquatic ecosystems. So supporting those organizations financially or with your time, they would support that. Something else, not specifically water related, but was something that came up. Carbon footprints. If you're not familiar with what a carbon footprint is, you can do a quick Google search and you can actually calculate what your carbon footprint is and see kind of where you rank and what you can do to improve that or lower that carbon footprint value. So just something interesting to keep a look at. So that's it for me for today, but I would love to hear what your thoughts are, your favorite organizations, your favorite things to do. Here's a New Life Spectrum container. When you're done with your food, what do you do with it? Do you recycle it? Do you reuse it? Somebody on Instagram said, hey, I could use that to make, well, not this one, but one of our other ones, I could use that to make jam or use it to make jelly. So I like hearing those suggestions. Capitalize free food garden, like mosquito larvae and stuff like that. That's a good one. I can't say that there's that many mosquitoes out here, but man, if there were, get rid of those. Hey, good morning. You recycle it. Yep, that's always a good one too. I can't say. Yeah, I usually recycle mine too. I'm trying to think. I've got a whole bunch of food containers. Even from back in the day. I've got, I worked at a local aquarium shop as a service technician, and occasionally I would bring containers home. So I've got, this is embarrassing, non-New Life containers, but I reuse them. I put like random things in them. I don't know who the company is, but I've got one that's like storing my little cotton filter balls in it. I was just like, well, I need to keep them dry and keep them clean, so just put them in a container and there we go. But yes, recycle them. Other exciting news, I'm a big fan of Dang Cute Fish, who made this mug. She launched a website this week, so if you're in need of some dang cute gear, I think she even expanded her line into clothing. Definitely check it out and get yourself some dang cute stuff. Oh. I'm not sponsored or anything. I just got a freak on it. I love the dang cute stuff. Yes, Coral Restoration Foundation. I don't know if you caught the beginning of this chat. They have a Coral Palooza. I'm kind of bummed that they're based in Florida, because for like $70 you can hop out on one of their dive boats and go like plant coral and stuff. I think you get like lunch and a t-shirt, and you get to go dive and help build coral reefs. This is one of my tank decorations to fill up the space. I have all sorts of stuffed animals that are aquatic themed. But yeah, hey chills. There we go. Oops. All right, I should get off here. Stop playing. He almost just fell into my tank. Yes, thank you guys all for joining me. Definitely comment below. Let me know what you do on a daily basis. Do you have a reusable water bottle? Do you need a New Life Spectrum sticker to put on your reusable water to remind you to bring it with you? If you need a sticker, hit me up, let me know. I've still got some stickers left from New Life Spectrum. Unfortunately, there's not any here on my bottle. They're pretty big, and I don't have a lot of space left. So, but if you need a sticker, let me know. I will see you next week, same place, same time, here at 8 a.m., right around 8 a.m. Pacific time. I will see you next week. Thank you for joining. I'm sorry to hear about your aquarium breaking. Hopefully it didn't make too much of a mess. You guys have a great week. Happy Earth Day.